Hey kids, it's JJ. I am back. A couple days late on this Zebruh FPV, our military build setup of Betaflight and BlHeli suite. This is with the DYS F4 Pro board, but you can do this with pretty much every single board out there. If you set it up the way I'm going to show you, you should have no flip of death issues. You should have nothing like that. So I have got a full glass of rum and it's colder than my ex-wife out here, so we are going to run through this. This is not meant to be an overview of Betaflight. This is just meant to show you how I set them up fast, and so Zebruh knows what the fuck I did to his bird when it spins out. But anyway, and I'm just going to go through some nuances and how I set things up. So this will work pretty much with every controller. So the first thing we want to do, bam, is we want to plug in our bird. And you'll see up here at the COM, it says COM 5. We're going to flash new firmware. So you go to firmware flasher and select your target. Let me pause this piece of shit right here. This ain't no good. Okay, cool. Now, select the board. The DYS F4 Pro will actually run on Omnibus F4 firmware, but it does have its own DYS F4 Pro. And put on full chip erase and show unstable releases, okay? And that way we will get our 3.2 Betaflight and hit load firmware online down here. And then flash. You'll see it go into DFU mode, which is basically boot mode up here. And if for some reason you guys can't get your board to go into DFU, you know, if you've never done an F4 processor on your pooter before, give me a shout and I'll help you out with it. Right now it's erasing the ROM, which is the brain of the board, if you will, and it's going to go ahead and flash 3.2 on there. Sorry, I had to take a drink. 3.2 has got a couple of little quirks about it. A lot of people are having flip of death issues, but it's just because they're not doing things. They're doing things like they did on 3.17, and you can't really do it that way anymore. So, without further ado, we are going to, now it rebooted, the board rebooted, and COM 5 is up. We'll just hit connect. Yours may or may not be COM 5. And we're just going to go ahead and make sure, I'm going to tilt the bird, make sure forward is forward, right is right. We're good. I got a bunch of shit running in the background, so that's why my computer's a little bit slow. Always enable your expert mode, by the way. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit calibrate. That's going to calibrate your accelerometer. So if you guys are flying around in angle mode, especially, this way it hovers straight. Ports, in this case, we're going to go serial RX on UART1. Now, one of the things that, like I said, I'm not going to get, this is not a tutorial on Betaflight. This is just how I set my birds up. I'm setting up Zebruh's exactly how I set up mine. So he can change it after he gets it. So ports, our receiver is going to be on serial RX on UART1. Our configuration, this is how I'm setting it up. Anything that I think needs talked about, I'll talk about it. Quad X, I'm going to reverse his motors. Bam, look at that, reversed. Because I want the schmutz to go outside and not inside. I already did that on a different video. We're going to go D-Shot 600. Motors always stop when armed. Leave this stuff alone. Believe it or not. Everybody says, change this, change that. Nah, fuck that. 8 on these. For an F4 board, you can go 8 on this. Get rid of barometer. Leave accelerometer on. We don't need to change the orientation of our board, so that's good. And we're going to put craft name Zebruh FPV. Don't worry about that. We're going to go, it is a serial based, and we're going to put in S-Bus, which should work for his receiver that he's going to put in for his FR Sky. And I'm going to turn on air mode, OSD, anti-gravity, and dynamic filter. Nothing else on that. And this is all your beeper configuration. We're using beepers out of the motor, so I don't care about turning any of that stuff off. So save and reboot. Hopefully this fucker's recording because I can't see my screen recorder. All right, let's connect back up. Power and battery. This one does have a current meter on it, but I'm not going to calibrate it. So Zebruh, if you want to piss around with that later, I think having a current meter is kind of stupid, really. That's just me. Some people like to know every single little thing that's happening to their battery. I do not care. I care about the voltage that the battery is at while I'm flying. It takes up less CPU power and less bullshit, less calibration, faster setup. I really just care about where my voltage is. That's just me. Minimum cell voltage, warning cell voltage, capacity, battery tuning scale. Usually these DYS boards are pretty dead nuts. So I'm going to, just for shits and giggles, shoot. Yeah, we'll test that later. I will test this voltage to calibrate that. We're going to hit save. Failsafe, we're going to leave it alone, but we are going to test it. Just leave Failsafe alone, guys. Jelly Bean, Joshua Bardwell changes a bunch of shit on here. Don't. Just leave it stock, and you'll be fine. I'm telling you right now. Good math. All right, so we're going to leave his PID settings stock for now. I might tune it later. We'll see how she flies. We're going to go, this is my settings. I go $135 on RC rate. Should have brought my good mouse out here. And super rate, I usually do $177, or I'm sorry, 77 or 85 sometimes. Depends on my mood. I probably wouldn't know the fucking difference, but that's all right. RC Expo, I usually don't do. Angle limits, only if you're flying in angle mode. I don't fuck around with that. And I changed my anti-gravity gain to 7. Bam. All right. I do that for prop wash characteristics, and everything's kosher here. We'll leave these alone for now. I'm going to go into my filter settings. I'm going to change my biquad to PT1 filter. I'm going to take my 400 gyro notch to 0, my 200 down to 0, and my 260 down to 0. Now, I'm going to give you a little disclaimer here. If you do this and you're not used to building, and you've built with components maybe that you're not used to and things like that, here's what you do, kids. Do what I just did. Take it outside, give it a couple of punch outs for about 15-20 seconds, and land it and see if your motors are stupid hot. If they're just warm, it's okay. But if they get really, really hot, you've got vibration issues and you could burn up your motors doing this, okay? I will thoroughly test his tomorrow, and we've got those returner R2s on here, which should just be like fucking V8 engines, right? They should be pretty sweet. And I'm very used to this frame, very used to this flight controller. I pretty much know what it's going to do, so I know I'm okay. And even hot, I mean, if you can't touch a motor, it's too fucking hot, okay? I don't have an exact degree value, but you know what I'm saying. Now, so that's our PIDs. Let's just double check, because I am drinking, make sure this fucker works. Tick, 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 tock, 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 tock. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Receiver. Now, here's something I do want to harp on a little bit. I do put my RC deadband at 10, and I'll get out of my way, and I go to yaw to 10. And that's just basically so when I'm flying around, if you're not perfectly centered, it doesn't, on your sticks, doesn't fuck you up. Here's the thing, here's the gotcha that most people get fucked on with 3.2. 3.2 has different arming checks, a checklist for arming your quad than the old ones did. And this actually got me in the beginning too, because of course I loaded 3.2 on and didn't read a fucking thing. But basically what you want to do is, for you guys out there with your radios, turn on your radio, see where your throttle value is at the bare minimum, the absolute bottom. Put your throttle all the way down, and let's just say it says 1040. Then this 1050 will work fine for you. Whatever it says, put it 10 above. Okay? So I know for a fact, I always set mine up at 1075 for my radio. That's just where mine works, okay? A lot of times when you try to arm on the stock stick minimum parameter, it will not let you. So if you're having that problem, bam, I've helped a ton of people out by saying, oh, dude, just go to your stick min and change it 1075 or do the math. If yours comes in simple math, if it comes out to 1,000, set it at 1,010. If the bottom of your throttle stick is 1,050, set it at 1,060. Trust me on this, because if your stick is higher than what this is, it will not arm. So Bam. Make sure you fucking take note of that. Save. Modes. I'm setting him up how I set me up. Okay, so his mode for auxiliary 2 is going to be arm. Yeah, I'm going to give him an angle mode in case he wants to fly an angle. We're going to give him horizon, all on aux 1. And if you don't put anything, obviously that's a 3-way switch. First position is angle, second's horizon, third's going to be acro. Then I put his beeper on, or my beeper as well, 4. That's my switch. So when we throw the beeper, the motors are going to do their little twizzle and twazzle. And I go down to, I keep my shit simple, kids. Flip over after crash. Add range. On mine, this is 3. This is anti-turtle mode. I did a video on this already, so I'm not going to go into it. And there's pre-arm for those sissies that think they need 2 switches so they don't cut themselves. And I was like, oh, fucking really? How many years we've been doing this? Now you need 2 switches? That's a Bardwell thing, too. I think too many people listen to that fucking guy. Anyhow. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, that's it for my modes. I am set up there. Adjustments, nothing. Servos, nothing. Motors at this point, nothing. And I'll explain that in a minute. OSD. I'm going to set him up the way I set me up. Okay. We're going to put him in NTSC, Imperial, which is standard because we're stupid Americans and we do everything in standard. I'm going to set him up for a 3-minute flight time. Basically what that means is total arm time. When he's flying around and he hits the 3-minute mark, his voltage is going to start flashing. That's important. RSSI, he can set that up later. I don't use it. Man, my computer's fucking dogging. Really, kids? Main battery voltage we leave on. Crosshairs off. Artificial horizon off. Horizon sidebars off. Timer 1 off. Because I do not care how long the battery's plugged in. I only care about my flying time. Fly mode, I turn it off. Craft name, we're going to leave that on there. Throttle position, I take off. VTX, current draw, we turned off the current monitor. Milliamp drawn, it'll only work if you have current monitor. Altitude, bada. Man, my computer, this is a nice computer too, and it is just pig fucking slow. Look at that. Ain't that a bitch? Alright, it's probably because of my screen recorder. Alright, PID pitch, PID yaw, don't care about that, don't care about power. Yeah, I keep my OSD simple, kids. I don't go crazy with it. PID rate profile, really? What the fuck you need that for? Warnings, I don't like that because every time your battery beeps, it flashes warning in your face. Average cell voltage, I like. GPS, nah, we don't need any of that crap. This ain't a drone. Main battery usage, get rid of that. Disarmed, I've kind of started using it. I don't know why. Home direction. I'm sorry, I usually do this a lot faster. My computer's just being a cunt. Compass bar, ESC temperature. We're not running anything like, I can't, it blows my mind that some people really use all this stuff. On a quad, on a drone, different devil, but a quad, it's like, really? Get that. This thing's just hating me right now. Get rid of this. We know it's Betaflight. I do take that off. Minimum battery, minimum RSI, he'll probably want on later. We're going to black box, that's gay. That's a jelly bean thing too. Sorry. Yeah. And there you go. And then I arrange it like this. Leave disarmed where it's at. I put my fly minutes right above there. I put my real battery voltage right here. And I put my cell average here. I like that average cell thing. That's pretty sweet. It tells you what your average is. So if you're running a 4S, it takes the average of your cells. I think that's pretty slick. So we're going to hit save. And one thing that I do, and if you guys want this file, I'll be glad to send it to you. I actually load up a different font that's not even in Betaflight. And the reason I do this is it basically looks like the digital, but it's not. It's called Mugsels, yeah, something like that. Double click that, hit upload font, and it looks digital, but the reason I use it is it has a more accurate battery level. This little thing right here it's more accurate. Because like on the Betaflight one, it's like if you're halfway dead on your battery, it shows it being empty. And that bugs me. It's just a fucking thing I do. Okay, so the OSD is set up. Black box. I usually put this at 50% of that. I don't use black box, honestly. I've never really needed to. You build your bird right, you usually don't have those problems. I have a Bardwell joke, but I'm not going to say it. Now, I do go into CLI, and I do this, guys. Set small angle space equals space 180, enter, save. Now, what that does is that makes it so you can actually arm your quadcopter while it's upside down, literally. Okay. The reason I use that is if I get stuck in a tree and the quad's sitting at a 90-degree angle, I can actually arm it and try and chop the tree up to get it down. That's the only reason I use it. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to go grab a battery, and then we are going to get into the BlHeli S. They're the BlHeli suite, and I'm going to show you how to do the motors and all that good stuff. So be right back. And we're back, thank you. Okay, so we got a battery set up, we've got everything else. Now, I told you we're gonna go to BlHeli S. I'm sorry, BlHeli Suite, I always say that, sorry. First thing you want to do, and I really, really recommend that you do it exactly how I'm showing you, in the sense of setting up your Betaflight first, then going into BlHeli Suite, doing your ESCs, your motors, and all that crap. The reason I say that is if you fuck up and you have your Betaflight, let's connect here, and let's just say for shits and grins that you've got your configuration set to, instead of hitting D-Shot 600, you set it on one shot or PWM by accident, and those ESCs aren't calibrated, and you got some shit fucked up, and you go and plug this thing in, it can cut you. That's why I do it this way. Now, you should have your props off for this too, by the way, but it's just, it's kind of like building the roof before the walls, kids. Put the Betaflight on there first, get your setup on there first, then go in. So what we're going to do, we're going to go in the motor tab, and this is important, okay? Plug in your battery. You probably can hear that. Now, the first thing you want to do, enable this, and then check motor 1, make sure it works. On motor 1. Check this one, make sure it's on motor 2. Check this one, make sure it's motor 3. And check this one, make sure it's motor 4. That is extremely, extremely, extremely important. I've helped a bunch of my buddies out where they're new to building and they got shit wired wrong. They're like, can't figure out why the fucker's flipping. Go individually and see if your motors are responding 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 4. If not, you'll have to remap them. Then what I do is I slowly bring up master. I don't know if you can hear that or not. To a nice low level, and I check the directions of my motors with my finger to make sure they're going the right way. And mine are, actually. But anyway, and make note, let's just assume 1 and 4 are going wrong. Okay, cool. Turn this off. Now, disconnect Betaflight. Leave it like this. Go down to your BlHeli suite. Well, open it up. Same, Chrome app. Should be on COM 5. Hit connect. Now, this is very important. You have to leave Betaflight open on the right COM, the booted up COM. Matter of fact, that's okay. The booted up COM, which is 5. And BlHeli must be on 5, but you have to leave Betaflight open because it's a pass-through. Hit connect, and you should get this blank screen. Hit read. Bam. There you go. It's going to take a second. With my computer, obviously, tonight, it's taking more than a second. Okie dokie. Now, let's go through this. This is how I do mine. Programming by TX, turn that off. You don't need it because if you're running D-Shot, you want that off. It doesn't have to be, but it's safer. Startup power for every single motor I have ever used, and I use on big birds, on not micros, but big birds. Big ass cricket here now, Jesus. I've never had to change this. I've changed it in testing, but the startup power, leave it alone. Temperature protection probably will be on, if I remember right. Default's 120. No, you want that off. You do not want to be flying on a hot day. Your ESCs get a little warm and the fuckers turn off and you fall out of the sky. That's like the worst Bardwell that can possibly happen. Low RPM power protection, you do want that on. That's basically saying, hey, if I get stuck in a tree and you've been drinking too much fucking rum and you don't disarm and those motors keep spinning, if it feels enough resistance, it'll turn off by itself. That's a good thing. Brake on stop, I always use this. Great prop saver. DMAG comp, leave all this stuff stock. Leave all this stuff stock unless, and then go ahead and fly it. And if you have issues, then you can change things. But really, guys, just if you're using good motors, usually don't have to deal with this. I do crank my beep strength and beacon strength way the fuck up. Okay, on old BlHeli firmware, that was a bad thing because your motors could actually overheat from it, but they have fixed that supposedly. So, and then I put my beacon delay on 2 minutes. And beacon delay is basically if you lose your bird and you turn off your transmitter and you're out in the fucking field finding it, and you haven't armed it within 2 minutes, but they have power, it's going to start doing its beep. That's a good thing. Okay. Now over here, don't mess with any of this because when you're running D-Shot, which is a digital signal to your ESCs, these are ignored, okay? This is for PWM and one-shot, multi-shot, all that crap. You don't need this. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys flashing firmware real fast. So we have all 4 ESCs there. That's pretty. We hit flash all, FH40. Just trust what comes up in most cases. Select version. You want D-Shot Commands Official. That is the one that works with Betaflight 3.2 that has turtle mode or anti-turtle mode and the motor beepers. We have to have that, especially with this build. If you want your beeper, quote unquote, your lost model alarm to come through your motors, you have to use this version of firmware. Bam. So we're going to hit that. We're going to hit flash all. And there it goes. This is going to take a second. So what else can I say here? The other thing, we'll just do this while we're talking. What you can do also, I said pretend 1 and 4 were backwards. All you do is click on this box. It'll let me do it. Hit reversed, and there you go. And it'll flip them the other way. I'm not going to do that because mine are right. And then if you guys want to play around with fucking 3D and all that stuff, I actually have a micro quad set up for 3D. I just haven't played with it much. I can barely fly 2D, whatever. But anyway, you get the gist. We're on ESC number 3. We got one more to go, and bada bing, we are finished. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go back into Betaflight, and we're going to make sure this pig fucker works. And it should. This is how, literally what you guys have just seen is how I set up every single freaking bird I own. All of them, even my micros. The only difference with my micro brushless is I do change the default PID settings instantly. I don't go out and test it and whatever else. Almost never, guys, almost never do I take a normal size quad and tune the PIDs. I usually use stock Betaflight on my builds and they fly way beyond my skills. They fly great. I have no problems. Micro brushless, yeah, I've got a special recipe that I stick into those to get those to stop oscillating and vibrating and whatever. Okay, so we're done. Enough rambling. And we're going to hit disconnect, and you'll hear my tones on my ESCs. Okay. We're going to pull Betaflight back up, reconnect to Betaflight, go back down to our motor tab, and we're going to turn on our little doohickey. We're going to hit master. Just listen to that. Sound pretty? Now my testing battery is just a little cheesy 3S and it's half dead anyway, but you get the idea. Check your motor direction again. And you see these guys that get all goofy with it. And they'll literally put little flags on their motor shafts and so they can see the flag spinning. It's like, these people are scared of their own fucking shadows, man. And it's like, just take the props off and touch the shafts. You should be able to fucking, feel it going the right way or not. It's not dangerous. So, all right. There we go. And that is really about it, kids. Can't really think of anything else to tell you. That's how I set up. Let me see if I've got any other disclaimers here. That's really how I set up every single bird. And I don't have any flips of deaths. I use Kakute F4 Pros. I use DYS F4 Pros, all-in-ones. The Kakutes all-in-one. I use Kakute old school F3s. I use Omnibus F3s. What else do I have in these things? Omnibus F4s. And I do not have flips of death. I do not have any of those fucking problems. And that's just how I set shit up. And it seems to work. So hopefully it works for you. So if you guys have any questions at all, you know how to get a hold of me. Please let me know. And that is the Zebruh FPV setup on his Hellbender. And tomorrow I'm going to get DVR footage and hopefully third-person footage of the test flights. I'm not going to beat the hell out of this thing. I'm kind of scared because I don't want to fuck it up. I want to send him a perfectly scratch-free bird. So I'm just going to pop it in the neighborhood here and just fly maybe a lap or two around the yard, and that's it. So until tomorrow, kiddos, take care, be well, have fun, fuck hard, all that good stuff. Take care. Bye.